Hello again and welcome to my channel, Dr. Teacher Mom. Today I will take you through a tutorial on persuasive writing. So our learning objectives today are to be able to effectively use a range of devices to suit the audience and purpose. And I've also given you a challenge objective for you to just stretch and challenge yourself, and it is to communicate your ideas convincingly and compellingly. Let's begin. So we have different persuasive devices, and I would like you to just stop the video right now and have a go at finding the definitions for these emotive devices. So we have emotive language, and I've given you the definition for that one already as a starter. So it's emotional words or phrases that help us understand the issues and draw on our emotions. Now please have a go at finding your own definitions for rhetorical question, repetition, alliteration, facts and statistics, exaggeration, tripling or rule of three, personal testimony, and personal pronouns or direct address. Okay, so you should have stopped recording and had a go at doing them. I've just given you now the answers, so I'll go through them, and because we're going to be using these persuasive devices throughout this tutorial. So I've already spoken about emotive language, which is about appealing to the emotions, so use of emotional words, so any words that draw on the reader's emotions would be emotive language. Rhetorical question is a question asked to involve the reader. It does not require a direct answer from the reader. Repetition are important words or phrases used that are repeated to emphasize their importance. So used and repeated, for example, twice to add emphasis. Alliteration, repetition of the same letter or sound in a sentence, so a consonant, sound or blend to attract attention to what is being said. And a famous and often used alliteration is she sells seashells on the seashore. Facts and statistics. These often include numbers and add factual weight to an argument. So these are data and numerical normally. Exaggeration, overstating a viewpoint, statement, or idea. It's used to impress, to make things sound better than they really are. Basically, when you're exaggerating, you're telling a white lie and stretching the truth. Tripling or rule of three, a word or phrase repeated 3 times to add emphasis and create anticipation. Personal testimony, this often helps people understand issues in ways that a general account will not. It is very anecdotal because it's really appealing to someone's personal experience. This technique is often used by charities so people will empathize with the suffering. Personal pronouns or direct address, used to draw people into an argument as if they're being spoken to in person. So our personal pronouns like you will appeal to the audience, because if you're saying you should act now, it is really drawing the audience in. Okay, we're going to do an independent construction now and see how we can apply the use of these persuasive devices to our work. So we have an extract that we're going to be looking at. So our source document today or text, if you would like to call it that, is from Martin Luther King's speech, the well-known I Have a Dream speech. We're going to use the starter activity that we did with the persuasive devices to help us to analyze this speech. And I like to use the acronym RUN. So we have already identified these devices that we're going to be looking for in this speech. But now we're going to read first, then we're going to underline and make notes. What I will do is I will put a link in the description box below of the Martin Luther King speech, so you can have a copy of it, you can print it and then annotate it. So here is the speech. Then we will go through and look for the devices.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood.
Already, what you're seeing is a repetition of ideas. So I have a dream is repeated in all of the lines, all of the paragraphs that we're going to be looking at. So that repetition of that dream, that broader idea, this vision for the future is shown. Let's continue.
I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. As I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
So very, very persuasive, and it is because of the devices that's used. So as I said, there is repetition of I have a dream. We're going to go through and do some deeper analysis. So I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners. So right there you have the alliteration, the S's, sons, slaves, sons of former slave owners. Also sibilants. So it is alliteration, but more specifically sibilants, where the S sounds are being repeated. Third paragraph, I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a desert state sweltering with the heat of injustice and oppression. So here it is metaphorical, is using metaphor. And yes, there's some devices that I am drawing on that you may know but weren't in the persuasive list, but I will still draw on them. The speech also uses the emotive word sweltering. Also, injustice and oppression are also emotive words that will create an emotional response. So they've used emotively to evoke emotion of injustice. And of course, the reader is going to feel like what was happening at that time was not right. Let's look at the fourth paragraph. So I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. And here again, he's used throughout he's used in every paragraph so far, he's used his personal pronouns. I, my, um, is repeated to again create that it is a personal story. It's almost anecdotal at this point when he says, I have a dream that my four little children. He's telling a story that's very personal to him. And they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And that's something that's still being fought today. So it will resonate with the reader. Next paragraph, the fifth paragraph. I have a dream that one day the state of Alabama, now he's using factual information. So yes, the state of Alabama. So it's been very, very specific about the state of Alabama, whose governor's lips are presently dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. At this point, he's also using more emotional appeal to describe this governor, right? And imagery as well. So the governor's lips are presently dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, will be transformed into a situation where the little black boys and black girls, and notice he keeps using the diminutive forms, little, children. So that is emotive as well, because he's showing how the children are affected. It's not just the adults in this situation who are affected negatively, but also the little ones who are coming up. So it is emotive. We'll be able to join hands with the little white boys and white girls and walk together as sisters and brothers. So there's a lot of repetition of the idea of togetherness throughout, and then he ends it with that repeated line, I have a dream today. So this is a question I want you to think of after hearing an extract from that famous speech. What would you like to change in the world today? And that's a really big question. So Martin Luther, he wanted to change segregation, he wanted to change oppression, he wanted to change injustice, he wanted to change racism. All these are big. So basically he wanted equal rights and justice for all, and that resonates in every line of his speech, and it then becomes really powerful and persuasive because of that, and the devices that he's used throughout. How can we put in practice? So I've given you a task that I would like you to have a go at. So the task is, you have heard King's I Have a Dream speech. You must now write one of your own for things in our world that you want to change to be presented at an assembly. You need to write, and so I've given you the starter, the starting sentence, or the part of the starting sentence. I have a dream that, and you're going to include 5 different points telling how it would make the world a better place as well. These are the skills And on my pyramid, you can see the scales going up to the top, and you will note that the yellow scale, creating, is going to be our most powerful skill today. So we're going to be creating. We have analyzed, we have evaluated, and I need you to apply and create. So apply what we've gone through and create something. And your task is to create a written speech of your own. So what are you going to think about? You're going to think about your purpose. What is the reason for writing this speech? And it is to make a change. You need a world that is a better place. So you're really going to think about points that you could say and include that would be impactful, that would be powerful. Who's going to be your audience? You're going to present this at an assembly, so it would be teachers and students. And the language that you're going to use, it is going to be persuasive language, and you're going to use some of those persuasive devices from the starter activity. So let's begin creating. So I have given you a model. It's really good to have something to work with. You can magpie, and the concept of magpieing is like a magpie that steals bright objects. They love shiny objects. You can look at this modeled paragraph or modeled piece of writing, and you can magpie bits of it. You're not going to magpie all of it. You're going to maybe say, okay, I like that sentence. I'll use that in my own writing, and then I'll develop on that and add to it. Let me take you through the modeled response. I have a dream that women's voices, so I'm talking about women's rights, women having equal rights wherever in this world. So it could be in the workplace, it could be just in society as a whole. I have a dream that women's voices will be heard from every corner of the earth and people will listen. I want strong, independent women to be able to stand up and make the world a better place. Women's voices matter. I have a dream that women will be treated the way men are treated, with equality and admiration. I desire greatly to see the day where women have real equality. I have a dream that this world will have sympathy for those women all over the world that are drenched with their own tears from looking at a screen engulfed with hatred towards them. A world that looks after those who are devoured with the daggers of malicious language that has engraved pain into their lifeless souls. I have a dream today. So that's my modeled paragraph that I've put in the repeated lines similar. So I have magpied that from Martin Luther King's speech, and you can do the same. So every line, every paragraph, I've started the line, the first sentence with I have a dream, that repeated idea throughout. I need you to have a go at writing your own speech. It would be fantastic if you could tell me how you've gotten on with this and send some examples of the work that you've done. That would be just great. So we've gone through the model, and this I've put it here for you with the GCSE level descriptors for this. I'm using the AQA language descriptors for this one. So level 4 communication of ideas that's convincing and compelling. We're trying to get to that level 4 on the mark scheme. Remember, it's not an overall grade 4. We're looking at a level 4, which is the top of the band for this mark scheme. So you have your assessment there. As I've said, I am going to make a link for this page and for the extract that we use. So these two, I'll make a link so you'll have these to work with. Plenary. So you have written your speech and it's not finished. We need to then redraft it, up level it, make it better. So I need you to reread your speech and self-assess it. How many of the features of persuasive writing have you used? Use the band descriptors as well and give yourself a level. Then you need to reflect on your writing and answer the last question. What improvements could you make to make your article, to make your speech even more persuasive? Well, thank you for joining me on yet another tutorial. I'm so happy to have you with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.